what's up? How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Nice to see you.
You too? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. Not gonna lie.
Hi. I mean, the world is gonna see our hard work. Spider-Man: Homecoming, starring Zendaya and Tom Holland.
Your name's so big on the poster.
Yeah.
Why is your name so big?
Well, you know, kind of like the perk of having it one name. You know, you get bigger font.
That's interesting to me because obviously I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
I like it.
I'm the one who's the lead of the movie.
I like it.
Yeah, I bet you do.
I think it makes it pop. Personally, I think. So.
Good to see you again.
No problem.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye now. What? Come on, guys. I'm Spider-Man. It was just crazy. He was just like, and you were like, I gotta go.
Hey, where are you going? What are you hiding, Peter? I'm just kidding. I don't care. Bye.
Reimagining Spider-Man with Tom Holland and Civil War was almost like a homecoming and kind of a big aha.
Don't do anything stupid, all right?
Yeah.
He's just the man for the Spider-Man movie.
It's so cool to make a new Spider-Man in this MCU, something we haven't seen before.
You're the Spider-Man.
No, I'm not. I'm not. This is just a costume. This is from the ceiling.
On the roof!
Hey, everyone.
This is a general audience program.
What's up, guys? I'm Tom Holland, but you can just call me Spider-Man or Peter Parker, depending on what I'm wearing.
Yeah, and I'm Zendaya, and well, I was born without a last name.
And we're here to take you inside Spider-Man's solo debut with the Marvel Massive Cinematic Universe.
Welcome to a world where action is always around the corner, and me, Zendaya, being awesome.
Anyway, buckle up and get ready to see Spidey. Well, Peter Parker. I mean, you get the gist. I play Spider-Man.
Yep, we're taking you inside the world of Spider-Man: Homecoming from every angle, while giving you a few super surprise secrets about the movie that you will only be able to find right here.
Some people might even call them Easter eggs.
I think super surprise secrets sounds like a little cooler.
We can agree to disagree.
All right, deal.
Spider-Man is the biggest Marvel character. He is the jewel in the crown. Such an amazing icon. He is a very different type of hero because he is quite simply the greatest superhero of all time.
Wait a minute. You want the real Avengers? Peter Parker is one of the most beloved and powerful superheroes of the MCU. Not bad. Good shot, buddy.
Oh, Mr. Parker.
Hey, I'm Peter.
It's about time we met.
When I started first reading the comics, when I was 13, 14, 15, 16, younger, but particularly in that sweet spot, I was like, oh, this is me.
When Steve Ditko and Stan Lee brought him to life in the early 60s, he was such a great contrast to all the other Marvel heroes. The comics were so amazing, having this shared universe where anybody could show up in anybody else's books. And it's been almost 10 years since we introduced the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We will meet Spider-Man for the first time being a part of that world. He was a modern-day high school kid in New York City who ended up accidentally getting extraordinary abilities.
Oh, that was awesome.
Most people know who Spider-Man is, and he's probably the Marvel hero with the most name recognition. I've always had an affinity for the character, and seeing it depicted on film as it was in the books, that's an exciting take on it than I've seen before.
Action!
I love that it's about a teenager. He's got this awesome energy. It's going to be really magical.
I've always sympathized with Peter Parker because he's a science nerd, and I was a science nerd in high school. Now imagine if you were Spider-Man. You could do all this amazing stuff. You would spend every moment of your day trying to maximize the amount of time you get to be Spider-Man because it would be the best feeling in the world.
One of the coolest things about this movie is that we've seen the God, we've seen the soldier, we've seen the billionaire. Now it's time to see the kid and see what he can do.
Peter, you still with us?
Yeah.
You got hard, kid. Where you from?
Queens?
Brooklyn.
Spider-Man and Peter Parker are two very different characters, but one of the important things is making sure that little parts of each bleed into each other. We've always trying to find little moments where Spider-Man can be seen in Peter Parker when we can see Peter Parker through the mask. Woo! And we really get to explore a kid having fun. What's up, everybody?
Tom is enthusiastic and bright and gifted and very physically talented guy. It's just the right combination of elements that were required to really make an exciting new play of this.
So, to become an Avenger, are there like trials or any interview?
Just don't do anything I would do. And definitely don't do anything I wouldn't do. There's a little gray area in there, and that's where you operate.
Oh.
All right? That's not a hug. I'm just grabbing the door for you. All right, kid. Good luck out there.
Tom's playing an age of Spider-Man that we haven't seen on film before, but definitely harkens back to what's in the books.
Ultimate Spider-Man is the closest to what John has created. I think that version of Peter Parker in that story arc is very similar. And I think just in the artwork and how they sort of modernize that character is a real influence for us for what we've been creating here.
The big secret ingredient is John Watts, because he comes from where Peter Parker comes from.
I really, really remember what it was like to be 15, 16, 17, and everything is an 11. Talking to a girl is just as stressful as trying to get into college, which is just as stressful as taking down a supervillain.
I know school sucks. I know you want to save the world, but you're not ready yet.
I'm good.
Putting Spider-Man in the MCU is the best thing in the world for me as a storyteller. Now we can just have fun with, I think, what makes Spider-Man unique is very powerful, and that he has a secret identity.
You gotta keep it a secret. Okay. Swear it, okay? I don't think I can keep this a secret. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I can't believe this is happening right now.
When Peter Parker initially is going on his adventures as Spider-Man, he wears sweatpants and a sweatshirt with sort of a crudely sewn sweat hood and these irising goggles that he's built out of parts that he's scavenged.
Can you even see in these?
Yeah, he's taken a continued interest in Mr. Parker, and as usual is kind of helping him up his game with his suit and the tech and all that.
And that's where we see for the first time what I think is going to be the most iconic version of the Spider-Man outfit that anybody's ever seen.
Good evening, Peter.
Hello?
Tony Stark built this costume for him.
Excuse me, actually, that's top secret. You can't film that. Security!
The idea that the Spider-Man suit could be Stark Tech really just opened up the door to a lot of really great stuff.
How'd you find me? Did you put a tracker on my suit or something?
I put everything in your suit, including this heater.
Whoa.
There's even a little spider drone.
Has that been there the whole time? That's awesome. The suit is one of the coolest things that has ever happened to me in my whole life. Wearing that suit for the first time was just a dream come true. And still to this day, can't really believe that it's happened.
Can I try the suit on? This is awesome.
So, Zendaya, what is the most iconic part of Spider-Man?
Robert Downey Jr.
I think you'll find it's actually...
Still not Robert Downey Jr., sorry.
We'll be back after a quick break with more Spider-Man gadgets, his relation to the Marvel Universe as a whole, Michael Keaton as the infamous Vulture,
Robert Downey Jr.
and yes, Robert Downey Jr.
This is a general audience program.
Welcome back to A Fan's Guide to Spider-Man Homecoming.
Here we are in front of the Avengers Tower.
That's right, we teleported, but we can't show you the device we used because that is a Stark secret.
You know, if we started spoiling Tony's secrets, he wouldn't be very happy. So let's just help you guys catch up. If you liked Spider-Man kicking butt in Civil War, the very beginning of Spider-Man Homecoming will give you his side of the story surrounding that event.
For all the fans out there, you're going to get Peter's background story leading up to and continuing after the battle in Civil War, and it's all straight from footage on his phone.
We pick up right after the battle with the Avengers, where I must face my biggest, darkest, craziest challenge yet.
The Vulture?
No, high school.
This film is an origin story in that we see how Spider-Man begins to become the icon and the legend that we all know as Spider-Man.
I just gotta do this on my own.
But we come at it in a different way. He's been Spider-Man for at least 6 months when we meet him.
You're that Spider guy on YouTube, right? Call me Spider-Man. Okay, Spider-Man. Don't flip. Yeah!
We don't do the spider bite. We don't do the death of Uncle Ben. We've seen that before.
I know you sneak out of this house every night. That's not fine. There's a whole new way of telling his story. This Peter is on the periphery of the world that Tony Stark lives in.
I'm sick of him treating me like a kid all the time.
But you are a kid being Spider-Man in a world where the Avengers exist. Means that we don't have to spend any time explaining that, which means we can just get right into the fun of it. Telling this story from Peter's perspective, so the audience is feeling and seeing and experiencing everything with Peter as it's happening.
I get to keep the suit?
This does not mean you're an Avenger, in case you were wondering.
At the beginning of the movie, Peter loves being Spider-Man, but he doesn't love being Peter Parker. Peter Parker sort of represents everything that he was, which to him is just a weird, outsidery, science-y nerd dork. And now he has this whole new future life ahead of him being a superhero. And
Can you summon an army of spiders?
but what he hasn't done is come to terms with who Peter Parker is, which is a core of every coming-of-age story is finding out who you really are.
This is my chance to prove myself. The whole movie, Peter's trying to prove himself to Tony, to prove to him that he is ready to be an Avenger. He is old enough to take on bigger tasks. And in doing so, Spider-Man stumbles across these high-tech weapons that have been left behind from any Avengers disasters.
Listen, Peter, there are people who handle this sort of thing.
One of the interesting things about the fight sequences and the tone of the movie is that even though these fight scenes are incredibly scary,
Let go of me!
they're also lighthearted and funny.
What's with the costume?
There is sort of a core Spider-Man truth that we're trying to get to. That if you strip away all of the Spider-Man side of it, it should still be a really great, moving, funny, emotional coming-of-age story.
Are you an Avenger?
Yeah, basically. Whoa. Now we're in Hollywood, Zendaya.
I mean, yeah. You can tell by the big sign that says Hollywood.
But wait a minute. Why are we in Hollywood?
Well, I'm guessing that this is the cast section.
Oh, yeah, duh. That's what brought this movie to life, was the amazing cast. We got to work with the legendary talent Marissa Tomei, Michael Keaton,
And Robert Downey Jr.
Take it easy, take it easy.
Sorry, I'm just I'm a big fan. So.
Yeah, but he's kind of like my mentor, so whatever. Anyway, there's a lot of A-listers in that one clip.
Wait, was Iron Man ever seen in a Spider-Man movie before?
Let me think about that. No. And another Spider-Man first is Jacob Batalon as Peter Parker's best friend. For once, Peter gets to have a good friend who knows his secret, someone who gets to be in on the experience of being Spider-Man, someone who can be his guy in the chair.
Aww, BFFs.
It's more like BFFLs, but whatever.
Nerd.
Hey, Peter Parker proves that you can be a nerd and be cool, and I think Ned does the same thing in his own way. The whole cast, when we're all together, it's been such a delight. Woo! Since day one, Jacob and I hit it off immediately. It's probably the most important relationship throughout the movie because he's the only person who he confides in to talk about being Spider-Man.
Can you spit venom? What's your favorite spider? Tarantula, Daddy Longlegs, Brown Recluse, Black Widow. Sorry.
So I almost see Ned as a sort of shrink, you know, someone he could just really let out to.
What is it like being famous when nobody knows it's you? It's crazy. Should we tell everyone?
No. Zendaya plays a character called Michelle.
You guys are losers.
Then why do you sit with us?
Because I don't have any friends.
And she is a sort of weird, dorky, kind of closed-off character.
Am I?
But she seems to follow Peter and Ned around quite a lot. She's really brought something very cool to that character and something very interesting and unique.
Can we go already? Because I was hoping to get in some light protesting in front of one of the embassies before dinner. I don't think I had like a big reaction to being a part of this movie until like Comic-Con. I was like, yo, this is real. She's weird, but she's super cool to me because I feel like usually what she says is very real. Can't believe you guys are at this lame party.
You're here too.
One of the main differences in the previous movies is that we don't really have a bully. His main rival is Flash.
What's up, Parker?
They have this really funny back and forth.
You can't just quit on us, stroll up, and be welcomed back by everyone.
Hey, welcome back, Peter. Flash, you're back to first alternate.
What?
But he is so much like himself in the movie. It's crazy. Tony's so funny.
I feel like I'm actually becoming more and more like my character. I'm always like the guy that you're like, Flash, right?
Yeah, kind of.
And in real life now it's like, Tony, right? I grew up a comic book nerd. It's kind of like a dream come true to be a part of Spider-Man.
None of this is real.
It's real, buddy.
Love you guys.
It's real.
Peter's love interest in this movie is Liz. Liz can do top. He's madly in love with her. She's the best looking girl in school. He doesn't think that he can win her over, but just by being himself.
It's just Spider-Man. Oh my God, she's crushing on Spider-Man. No way.
Peter knows Spider-Man.
If you say I'm Spider-Man, you can get any girl in the world, you know, because you're a superhero. And it's quite interesting to play those scenes knowing that you as a character have that golden ticket, but you can't play it. She's played by Laura Harrier, who's fantastic.
This is really important to you. This is my future. She is really driven and smart. She's a senior, so she's a bit older. Everyone else is a sophomore, so she's kind of like the wise, like, popular girl in school. Can't bail a week before nationals. We've had so much fun on set together. We've become really good friends. It's just like a great experience working with him.
I'm sorry, gotta go.
Casting the character of Aunt May, we started saying, well, wouldn't an aunt be a little more like a big sister or someone much closer to him age than the classic in the comic? And then we just started trying to think of the best actresses we could think of. And of course, Marissa Tomei was one of the first names that came up.
Peter, you have to tell me what's going on. Just lay it out.
Marissa Tomei just seems like she would be Peter Parker's aunt. Like, even our writers, when they were first pitching their take on it, they were like, think Marissa Tomei.
Not a fan of that Tony Stark.
So everyone was like, yeah, great.
That's nice of him.
She brings just so much life to the character. We have such a good time on set with each other.
Hope you got a few good licks in.
Yeah, I got quite a few in, actually. His friend was huge. Like, huge.
Okay, tough guy.
The big brother relationship is between Happy Hogan and Peter.
Happy's kind of your point guy on this. Don't stress him out.
Young Peter Parker, on behalf of Tony Stark, being vetted for membership in the Avengers.
One of the great tropes of coming-of-age stories is the older sibling who's always there giving you a hard time. Happy Hogan plays that role.
What's that? What are you wearing?
It's my suit.
I really like coming back in this capacity of a guy who's sort of the next generation looking after the new guy.
Being back with Tom Holland and Jon Favreau was just crazy. And it reminded me of that kind of first Iron Man experience.
John rang me up, was like, Robert's gonna do it. I was like, that's amazing. I thought it would take like a huge amount of persuading. They were like, nope, we rang him up, we asked him, he said yes. He loved being here. He was like a happy little kid on set.
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that.
It's a straightforward Spider-Man movie. There's always opportunities for heavy hitters dropping in to kind of support him.
I was just trying to be like you.
I wanted you to be better.
This one's particularly fun for me. Feels like the old band's back together again.
Those two have obviously known each other for nearly 10 years and they know what to do, and it was really nice to just be thrown in at the deep end.
The world's changing, boys. Time we change too.
A superhero movie is only as good as their villain. The Vulture is played by none other than Michael Keaton.
The main bad guy in the movie is going to be the Vulture. The Vulture's realizing there's this black market, trading in MCU relics that he can sell this stuff on, and we're going to kind of see that guy's rise in this criminal underworld.
Business is good.
The idea that there's detritus from all the other movies that has settled and that's hidden and that's out there. The Vulture, he was just sort of an engineer who built this wingsuit to try and collect that stuff and do something with it.
You don't understand how the world works. I found it a really interesting approach to what you all want to call a villain. He does corrupt things in order to fight what he sees as corruption, and I think he has a pretty strong argument.
I think it was a really cool thing for Keaton to do, and I'm sure he will not disappoint.
Don't you interfere with my business again, because I will kill you and everybody you love.
He is perfect for that role. There is no one who could play that role better than he could.
You know, Iron Man doesn't really need wings to fly. He just kind of zips around on rockets like a boss.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'll just stick to the webs. Tons of superheroes can fly. No one really gets to swing like I do.
Okay, yeah, whatever floats your boat.
It does float my boat.